Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and I've got here a couple of tweets or X posts that came out last night, and Trump basically announced that he had brokered a deal for a ceasefire and for peace over in the Middle East, but it didn't quite work out. They were back to shooting each other right almost immediately after he announced this, and the sides weren't all together, even within Trump's cabinet. Some were saying it didn't happen, some were saying it did. With Iran as well, same thing. And Israel, or the Israeli state, they never quite agreed to it or said anything about it. They just said, well, we'll see. So we're going to go through these tweets. So this is the main one that Trump put out yesterday. It says, "Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world." And God doesn't bless any of these things. And there will be a bigger, larger war that is out of your control. But he announced this ceasefire, and then other tweets started coming in. And a little later, actually, we'll try to get to that one in a second. Let's see. Yeah, so at 6:55, from Raw Alerts, it says, "Now senior Iranian officials tell Reuters that Iran will continue its retaliation in direct response to U.S. military strikes." So that's it, 6:56. Then at 7 o'clock, it says Iranian officials tell Reuters his country has agreed to the U.S. proposed ceasefire. And then at 7:02, Israeli military spokesman declines to comment on Trump's ceasefire statement, according to the New York Times. So you know they're not going to agree to it. At 7:39, it says Trump says he expects the Israel-Iran ceasefire to last forever. Ha 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 ha. You can't stop this. This is how your people are judged. You can't stop this. It's going to happen. And then at 8:04, it says Israel assassinates Iranian nuclear scientist in Tehran. At 8:04. So this ceasefire did not last for very long. I also saw this other post from CNN World, but this is off of X. Couldn't find this original post, but it does look official, so we'll go into it. But it says Iran has not received any ceasefire proposal, senior official says. Iran has not received any ceasefire proposal and sees no reason for one, a senior Iranian official told CNN, in which, yeah, the U.S. struck you as well as the Israeli state struck you without any reason. And they just jumped on it, and they have to respond. It says the official said Iran would continue to fight until it achieves lasting peace, and that it would view remarks from Israel and the U.S. as a deception, and that's what's always under the tongue of all Israeli and U.S. politicians. There's always some deception in there. It's intended to justify attacks on Iran's interest. This very moment, the enemy is committing aggression against Iran, and Iran is on the verge of intensifying its retaliatory strikes with no ear to listen to the lies of its enemies. The official said, yeah, never trust thine enemy. And Edom, the so-called white man, including these small hatters, they are the devil, which goes into deceiver or slanderer. And there's always lies under their tongue. There's nothing to listen to when they talk because they're just going to give you a bunch of lies. They'll throw some truth in there, which you could use, but you always have to take the meat from the bone and assume that they're lying to you because they've lied about all of history. They've lied about the Bible. They've lied about science. They just lie. They can't even help it. They're built on lies. That's why this truth is hurting them so much because they're basically allergic to truth. That's their kryptonite, truth. Not saying they're Superman, but they are the god of this world, and they've controlled the media and the narrative for a very long time that people just automatically assume they're telling them the truth. But the Iranians, they see it at this point, and a lot of Ishmael and Elam are seeing it at this point, that this is truly the devil and that they can't be trusted. But that all went into this coming out with Trump lashing out because people didn't just do what he said. So he's no ceasefire, so he's dropping F-bombs. But here you go.
In public in a long time this morning. Here we go.
Bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you have respond to Iran?
And I saw another version earlier that didn't bleep it out, but when's the last time you saw an American president cuss like that? They're losing it because the Lord is removing the staff of the wicked. And their lies aren't working anymore. Their tactics aren't working. And this war, which they think they've arranged, is out of their hands. It's out of their control because they expected to bring in this war for their great enterprise to make a one world government. But it's not going to work because the Lord does not want it to work. And as it says, this is 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety. And Trump really just said that. He was saying that he thinks this can last forever, this peace talk. But no, that's not the Lord's intent. He wants to gather the nations and bring you all down and judge you. And there's a time for war and there's a time for peace. This is a time of war. And so there's not going to be any peace and safety. You can't have them both going on. And this war is made for you. It's made for the Edomites, and it's made for the heathen, and it's made for, really, for the Israelites and Yahushua to return, or for Yahushua to return order to this planet. This is his great entrance that's coming, and there's not going to be any peace. It says, think that I come to send peace? Nay, but a sword. That's what's coming for the Edomites and what's coming for the rest of the heathen. It says, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. And we see that there's no way around this. This war is going to happen. Maybe there's something else that happens, but overall, World War III happens. It happens no matter what it's written of. All these nukes aren't here for no reason. This is going to happen. And for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. There's not going to be any peace talks. There might be a cooling off period, but overall, we're watching the beginnings of World War III start, and it's not going to go away. This is what's needed to get into the next world. This is what's coming to end Esau's world. And Esau hasn't given anyone else peace and safety, so why should he expect that for himself? Which they do, because they really believe that the Lord's with them, but he is completely against them. This is Proverbs 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. And let's go check out the word for heart, which is lob. It's Strong's H3820. This is the inner man, mind, will, heart, understanding, conscience, mind, knowledge, thinking, reflection, memory. So the Lord controls your thoughts and your emotions, your heart, your understanding. What you do. There's no free will, and the Lord is controlling all of these leaders. They think they're doing one thing, especially on the Western side, NATO, EU, the elite, the US or Babylon the Great, Trump, and Netanyahu and Israel. They think they're all establishing an NWO, a new world order, and that they're going to rule forever. But all of their plans to do so are really just going into their own destruction, because the Lord is going to bring them down. And they're going to go all the way into slavery. But they think they are preventing their destruction, but it's really bringing it about. And no matter what they do and how they do it, it's all going to turn into their end. The Lord is controlling all of them. A great example is Pharaoh in Egypt, and how it says the Lord hardened his heart, because at certain points with the plagues coming on them, he was ready to let the Israelites go. Who the Israelites are the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as are scattered. But he was ready to let us go, but the Lord hardened his heart so that he could finish his plagues and prophecies. And that's what all has to go. The Lord is hardening the current leaders' hearts so that all of prophecy plays out, so that we still have the MOTB, so that Jacob's trouble happens, so that World War III happens, and then eventually the kingdom of Israel is established. It all goes in, and nobody has free will at all. You can't turn away this war. It's going to happen. It's prophesied. it's written. But yeah, the Lord controls everyone, but especially these kings, because that's how the theater of the world exists, is through the Lord controlling it. He's basically the great producer, the great director, controlling this movie that we call life. And his overall intent is right here in Zephaniah 3 and verse 8. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, until the day that I rise up to the prey. And Yahweh is going to send his son, Yahushai, to rise up against the enemies of Israel. You could go to Psalms 83, see all the enemies of Israel, with the Edomites, so-called white man, including the small hatters, leading the pack. They are the ultimate enemy. They are the devil of the Bible. It says, for my determination, they are the wicked as well. They're the ones who the Lord gave the earth into the hands of, the elite. And that's who's controlling, which the Lord's controlling them, as we just saw, but that's who's over the earth currently. That's why we have so many lies, and that's why we have so much pollution and so much war, and nothing is in order. It's because the wicked are in control. The so-called white people, which is not all white people, it's the ones that come through their father's lineage, go trace back to Esau. So not everybody that we consider white is actually an Edomite. Some of them are actually Israelites, but the Lord also has to come and separate the wheat from the tares, and that's going on both sides of Israel and Edom, and the other heathen, because we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But getting back to Zephaniah 3 and 8, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations. And he's going to gather all the nations into the valley of Jehoshaphat, or the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which is the Lord's judgment. And he's going to pour on them his indignation. It says that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation. So his righteous anger. They are going to all be judged in that valley. Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. And so he's going to gather the nations into World War III. It's going to go nuclear. So that's where a lot of the fire is going to come from. It's also going to come from the chariots as well. And that will be the second death. It's going to be nuclear war and war with the chariots enter a realm against realm, basically. And it's going to go out in fire. The second death. The first death was with water. The second death is with fire. And then a new kingdom, a new earth, new heavens are going to come down. And we'll have a renewed earth. We'll have order. We'll have Yahushai, a profitable leader over all. And life will be perfect for the Israelites. Not so much for the other nations, especially not the Edomites, because their heaven was our hell, and our heaven is going to be their hell. The other nations, after they serve out their captivity, they'll go back to their designated lands, and life will be much better for them as well, because things will be in order, things won't be as polluted, and they'll actually be able to thrive and have their own families and grow them. But then the Edomites will be done away with after that 1,000 years of slavery to where their gene line is going to be completely taken off of the earth. And there'll never be any more Edomites ever again. But this is the Lord's intent. You can't go against his intent. Who are you? His intent's to gather the nations and really just end the time of the Gentiles. That's what's coming to its fullness. But Lord willing, that was edifying. There's no way they could get out of this war. There's no such thing as peace and safety, because war is coming. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.